G'day guys, I'm Angelo from Lj Hooker. I'm sitting here with Alex, our sales director, and Michael from Aussie Home Loans at Dulwich Hill. And this is end of month drinks on the couch.
Cheers.
Halloween. Who's planning to trick or treat?
I hate Halloween. Is this going to become political? Because I hate Halloween.
I think it would make a great prospecting drive, right? just get me out there on Halloween. You know, trick or treat or market appraisal, right? Is that could work? So what's been happening, Alex?
What we are seeing a little bit of is buyers potentially having to settle for properties that they wouldn't necessarily settle for. They can't quite get the finance for their dream property that they necessarily want. Michael, maybe you could shed some light on that.
Well, firstly, I mean, this big story about doom and gloom and, you know...
Is this the commission that Meghan and Harry are getting? The Royal Commission?
Sorry, I should have warned you about him.
You know what, our sort of mortgage market has been relatively easy to navigate until the last sort of 1 or 2 years when the regulator sort of pushed a few buttons to try and slow things down a little bit. The banks are open for business for sure. There's money out there. People can borrow. It's different. And I don't know if it's because people are more savvy now on their phones. They can see, oh, that sold for this and this sold for that. And they start to get caught up in past experience or past history 6 months, 12 months ago and thinking that their property is still worth such and such. But I mean, we had such a buoyant 2015, 16. Now we're coming off and it's correcting a little bit and people are starting to finally catch on.
Do you think there's as many people applying for loans and just not getting the money that they're after, or is it more so that there's just not many people applying?
People are definitely still out there. Loans are still happening. Loan numbers are high. I mean, there's still people doing things, but the difference from my side of the coin as well is that we're involved in investing, borderless investing, people buying in other places that are not just local to our market. The refinance market is big at the moment because out of cycle rate changes and people are pretty cluey now. What are your pain points? I mean, we're dealing with Royal Commission.
Alex thinks he can grow a better beard than me. That's clearly one of my pain points.
So who's got a better beard?
Yeah, who's got a better beard?
You.
Thank you.
That's it. Can you just cut him out of the whole thing?
I need to be honest, I can't lie about beards.
No,
beards are important.
Beards are important. I just trimmed it, believe it or not.
So you've got that hairline that comes up under your eyeballs, bro. You've got that Greek.
I have hair that grows over my eyeballs. I have to cut it down. I actually use a hedger to get that.
You know what I'm seeing a lot of, and it's not necessarily sad, but I think people need to be wary of it. A lot of buyers I'm seeing are missing out because they're a little bit too cocky. Buyers think right now that a lot of buyers, not all of them to be fair, but a lot of buyers are thinking, no, we're just going to hold off and see what happens. And it's that fear of making a wrong decision and not making a decision at all. And don't we talk to people who have been looking for sort of 2 years and they've never quite made that decision? And really right now is the time to be buying.
A lot of people say, well, I'll wait for the bottom of the market, but you'll only know the bottom of the market when it starts going back up.
Wise words. Where'd you hear that from?
That was you. But no, it's absolutely true. You're not necessarily investing for the next 6 months. You're investing for the next 10 years.
That concept of buying and holding, look, for some people clearly that makes sense if they're buying an investment property, and for some people buying their owner-occupied property that makes sense as well because that's how they think about it. It's their greatest asset. Other people who are buying with the heart and not with the brain, buying emotionally, sometimes it doesn't matter.
For me, that doesn't make sense. Investors shouldn't be emotional about what they're buying.
It's a business decision. That's what we always say. How often do you get a buyer come through and you say, oh, are you buying to live or is it investment? A bit of both. Well, it's not both. It's a completely different decision because if it's to live, it's emotional, like you say. It doesn't matter if the numbers stack up or not because you want to be there.
I think what we're saying is it should be either one or the other. You shouldn't consider an investment property as something you'd like to live in. It should be something that you'd either...
It can be. You can want to live there, that's fine.
I think it's grey. It's not just black and white.
But as long as the numbers stack up. You can want to live there as long as the numbers stack up.
I think it's important that people know that banks are still lending 95% or more.
Is that right?
Most definitely. I mean, there's still lots and lots of our younger buyers. It's hard to generate a deposit. Houses are expensive. Without a parental gift or a guarantee, we're getting that leverage that leverage is necessary, and the banks are still open for business in that regard as well.
So what's your best advice for somebody that wants to get into the market but is not sure whether they can get the finance?
Speak to a broker, speak to your bank, speak to
to
whoever's
an
going to
Aussie broker,
provide you. Look, I would love to say yes in all cases, but speak to whoever you trust and get some advice. As simple as that.
Sure, that's great advice. Thanks, Mike.
That is really good.
Yeah, you're
advice.
welcome.
Well, I needed some advice on getting my car started after
My
that.
advice was take it to the mechanic.
It's been really good.
It has. Thanks, Michael, for coming on. From Alex and the team at LJ Hooker, we'll see you next month.